Welcome to acTVism Munich, Professor Noam Chomsky. Thank you for joining us again.
Glad to be with you.
So I want to start with you with some historical perspective, and let's work our way up from there. Before the Second World War, what view did the United States government have of fascism in Germany? What was the political and military relationship between Berlin and Washington?
Well, it was a mixed story. Roosevelt himself had a mixed attitude. He, for example, he was pretty supportive of Mussolini's fascism. In fact, described Mussolini as that admirable Italian gentleman. He later concluded that Mussolini had been misled by his association with Hitler and had been led kind of down a wrong path. But the American business community, the power systems in the United States, were highly supportive of Mussolini. In fact, even the parts of the labor bureaucracy were. Fortune magazine, example, the major business journal, I think in 1932, had an issue with the headline, I'm quoting it, "The wops are unwopping themselves." The wop is a kind of a derogatory term for Italians, and the wops are finally unwopping themselves under Mussolini. They're becoming part of the civilized world. It's there was criticism of the Italian invasion of Ethiopia, a lot of criticism, but basically pretty supportive attitude towards Mussolini's fascism. When Hitler took over, the attitude was more mixed. There was a concern for potential threat, but nevertheless, the general approach of the US, the British even more so, was fairly supportive. So, for example, in 1937, the State Department described Hitler as a kind of a moderate, fending off the dangerous forces of the right. Sorry?
Excuse me, there was a technical problem. Just continue.
I should continue?
Yes, please.
The State Department described Hitler as a moderate who was holding off the forces, the dangerous forces of the left, meaning the Bolsheviks, the labor movement, and so on, and of the right, namely the extremist Nazis. And Hitler was kind of in the middle, and therefore we should kind of support him. This is a pretty familiar stance, incidentally, in many other cases. George Kennan, later famous as one of the architects of post-war policy, was actually the American consul in Berlin up until Pearl Harbor. And he was sending back reports, which are public, which were qualified. They said we shouldn't be too harsh in condemning the Nazis. There's a lot of what they're doing is kind of understandable. We could get along with them and so on. This is one strain, and a major one. There was also plenty of criticism and condemnation, but the general attitudes were fairly mixed. This is sometimes called, when at the Munich conference, late '38, Roosevelt sent his most trusted advisor, Sumner Welles, to Munich, and Welles came back with a pretty positive report saying we can really work with Hitler. This conference opens the possibility of a period of peace and justice for Europe, and we should work out ways to interact and deal with them. That was late 1938, okay? So it was quite a mixed story. Actually, there's good scholarly literature on this if you want to go through the details.